What can you do to ease interruptions? Analia Pisani from AZ Solutions. In this session, I'm going to talk about what can we do to ease our interruptions. Interruptions, well, they are inevitable, but we can minimize them. One thing is sleep. Sleep is so important to our mental health and well-being. This is the time when the body needs to reboot and heal. So we need to reduce our interruptions at that time. Our stress glands rest and recharge between 11 p.m. and 1 p.m. We should get about between 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. is the best time to get 30 minutes of sun to reboot, re-energize. For optimal sleep, if your bedroom can be at 15 or 20 degrees, that's going to give you the ideal sleep. If your body is too hot, you'll be uncomfortable, you'll toss and turn. When you're stressed, that also increases the heat in your body, which also makes it harder to fall asleep. Something else in terms of sleeping is magnesium. Now, this is important because this balances out the body sugar. Your muscles need to relax, and it calms the nervous system. So having magnesium or enough magnesium in your body is also really important for that. When it comes to your phone, you might want to try and set it to do not disturb throughout the night. Don't know about you, but I have family members in other parts of the world, and I do it myself when I'm texting them, is I'll go off and I'll just text because there's something I want to get out and say, not realizing what time it is for them at the other end. So when you're making phone calls or texting, try and think about, what time it might be at the other end. But, it is inevitable and you just, do it subconsciously. And this can, disrupt our sleep, which is not very good. So putting your phone on Do Not Disturb is going to help with that. I used to put my phone on just silent and vibrate, but that's not enough, and it's not very restful because you're having that buzzing sound sitting there. But also when in meetings, having the buzzing, letting you know that you're in a meeting, you're concentrating on something, but it's still alerting you. So I found that a bit disruptive. So I've started to use the Do Not Disturb instead. I found a setting on the Samsung S21 that allows me to set my sleep time. I've set mine from 10:30 to 6:30, and that's sort of trying to get into that regular sleep and wake pattern. Even on a Saturday and Sunday, they say it's good to keep that all the way through. All of that is great for sleeping, but how can you avoid interruptions throughout the day? Now, throughout the day, you'll be, working, you've got other people walking in and out of your environment, so it can get even harder to control that disruption. When you're in a meeting, you need to get a job finished or done. What you might want to do is set it to Do Not Disturb. So as I was saying, Do Not Disturb as opposed to putting it on silent. If you can, whilst you're doing your work, exit out of Outlook so that you're not interrupted with those notifications or any other apps that you have that will give you notifications. If you just need that good 45-minute time to just get that job done, try closing down, exiting out of all other applications that you're not working on. That way it'll minimize the disruptions. Another benefit of exiting any programs that you're not currently working on is that your system is going to work better and more efficiently because it doesn't have to work as hard to keep all the other apps opened up. So it's going to speed things up for you in terms of opening, closing, getting in and out of what you need to get in and out of. It's a good idea to let people know that for you not to be disturbed, but give them a time, a start time and a finish time. Let them know that I'm going to be working on a project from this time to this time. You need to be specific. Just by saying, I'm going to be 20 minutes, it's not enough, because people aren't going to keep track of, oh, has that been 20 minutes already? They won't have even recognised what your start time was when you told them, I'll be 20 minutes. So let people know that the time that you're going to be free, and what you're currently working on. That way they're not likely to interrupt you as much. So if you're working on, oh, I'm rebooting the system, it's to get everybody up and running, then they're more likely to get out of your way, because they know what you're up to. They know what you're needing to get done. You're working on a proposal that needs to get done by lunchtime. So let them know you're working on something and roughly how long that's going to take you. That way they know, right, well, okay, I won't interrupt them again until after this such and such a time. Placing your phone inside the drawer. So rather than having it just sitting on the desk where you're constantly staring and looking at it when you can't concentrate on what you're supposed to concentrate on, it's a distraction. So grab your phone, turn it off, put it on Do Not Disturb, but put it away in a drawer, somewhere where you're not seeing it. People will come up to you while you're working in your workstation. Just because they're physically there in front of you doesn't mean that you have to attend to them and do whatever it is that they're asking you to do. Just keeping the back of your mind that it is okay to say, I'm working on getting the system back up and running. I'm working on this proposal that's due by lunchtime. Can I get back to you when I'm done? Should be after lunch and around about 2 o'clock. So you've told them, I don't have time for you right now. Let me get back to you. But you've given them a little bit of a time frame at least as to when you'll be able to give them your attention. So it is important to give them an estimated time as to, when you're going to be able to get back to them. Otherwise, they're just going to keep coming back to you again and again. Another good tip might be to keep a notepad handy. Now, you can do old school pen and paper, or, if you feel like being techie, that's fine. Use the to-do tasks or tasks on your phones or your apps. But make a note of someone's interrupted you. I'll get back to them, who that was, what was it about, and roughly, when I should get back to them. At least they'll feel like you're listening to them, and they know that, okay, yep, they're doing something and they'll get back to me. You can also say things like, let's schedule a time to talk about that. No problem. Let's come back to that in a minute. We can discuss that later. Love to hear more, but a bit later. I'll tackle that point later on in my meeting or later on in our discussion. Keep in mind that for every interruption, and it's unavoidable, we do have interruptions, that's just the way things are. But just keep in mind that every time you're interrupted, that's going to take you 23 minutes to refocus back on whatever it is that you were doing. Another thing you could try doing is focusing on getting something done, and just allow yourself around 30 to 45 minutes to perform that task. And then make sure you take a break, whether it's just standing up at your desk, having a bit of a stretch, going to the toilet, put some rubbish in the bin, make yourself a cup of coffee, but don't feel like you have to work for an hour, 2 hours straight. Your body's going to start to feel it. You're going to start to feel drained. It's just as important to have those breaks. So remember, you can't focus if you're hungry or dehydrated. So have some nuts, have some fruit. More importantly, make sure you have some water. If you find it hard to take breaks or force yourself to have some breaks, then set yourself an alarm. Maybe 10:30 for a 20-minute break. Start at 12 and have some lunch. 3 o'clock again, make sure you have another break. If you find it easier, you might choose to listen to music while you're working. You can listen to whatever you like. For me personally, I just find it distracting to listen to music that has words. But, each to their own. Hope some of those tips has helped you along. Thank you for joining me. Analia Pisani.